Hi artists! Today I'm going to show you some of the tools in Google Slides that you can use to create your own digital dragon eyes. We have been creating some sculptures of dragon eyes using Magic Model Dough in school, and we're going to take those and be drawing or digitally or on paper the texture of the dragon around it. I know that in second grade I focus a lot on texture. That is the way that things feel to the touch, and when we're creating visual texture, we know that we're working on a flat surface like paper or screen, so you can't necessarily actually feel the texture, but we want to trick people's eyes into believing that that texture is there, that the dragon, for instance, has those rough, scaly scales. So when you're in the document, this is just the slides that we're going to be working in. You are going to start off by creating the shape for your eye. Now, I'm going to go up to this top toolbar here, and there are shape features on my laptop. On your iPad, this is going to be a plus button because you're going to be adding something into the slide. So in this case, you'll hit the plus button and you should have that option of clicking on shapes. There are plenty of pre-made shapes in here. In Google Drawing, we also have this feature of, and on the laptop, you have this feature of using line tools and this awesome polyline or curve tool. If you have the capability of using those tools, that's great. You can play around with those. Polyline lets you create your own shapes instead of those pre-made shapes, which is really helpful. But if you're working on the iPad, which I know most of you are going to have to just survive with these pre-made shapes, and you absolutely can do that. I think you'll be fine just using these shapes here. I would suggest you start off with that oval shape or the circle shape. Start with the actual eyeball of your dragon. You want that to be the focus of the slide. You're going to be filling your slide with lots of shapes, so I'm going to start with that circle. You'll get just a basic gray to start, and I would suggest that you play around with some of the color options. So when you click on the shape, and it's highlighted in blue like this, that means that you're working with just this shape. You should have this paint fill color feature at the top. And I like to, because this is a dragon fantasy, a lot of different colors and dragons, that iridescent, I like to use, instead of the solid, try out the gradient. So gradient's going to give you some color options where you're blending. You can use some of the ones that are there. We have this nice blue, turquoise, or you can customize your own colors. So when you customize colors, you have the option of adding different gradients within that shape, and you can play around with this forever. I could play forever. I could add multiple colors. It could really be like a rainbow eyeball. I'm gonna just settle with this for now. You can see you can also change the type and center. So I could change this to linear, which doesn't make much sense because it's an eyeball. I want to get that rounded look to it. I could change this out also, but also just doesn't make sense. I would leave it center for your sake of your dragon eye. So I'm going to just settle with this for now. And inside the dragon eye, like all eyeballs, we have the iris, which holds the color, and the pupil. The pupil of an eyeball is always black, and it adjusts with the light. For dragons and reptiles, a lot of times the shape of their pupil is more of like a skinny line. Sometimes you see that in cats also. For humans, we have just like circular pupils. You can decide what type of pupil you would like to give, because dragons aren't necessarily real. They are fiction and fantasy. You can get creative with this. Maybe you want to use a different type of shape inside. I'm going to use this lightning bolt, and maybe my dragon theme will be kind of like lightning going through his eyeballs. Really fast, fiery dragon. I'm going to change the colors out as well using that fill color tool. I can change it to black so it really looks like a pupil. Okay, so I have my eyeball set. Now is the fun part where you need to add some of the texture in. I'm going to just change the color of my slide first so that I have a background base color for my dragon. So if we were working with clay like we did in school, this would be where you took that piece of Magic Model Dough, which was white, and you colored it that base color to put all the texture on top afterwards. I'm going to change my background color to maybe a really shiny yellow. Now I have an eyeball and I have all the fill color in the background. I only have about 18 seconds left, but I'm going to go back in and use my shape tool now and decide on some shapes that I might want to repeat to create that texture. In the next video, you'll see how I take the shapes, I group them, I duplicate them, make this